Before we start today's show, we want to invite you to stick around at the end of the episode to enjoy a preview of a new podcast that premieres on July 14th. As the industry's exclusive cannabis podcast network, MJBulls is proud to present Women Leading in Cannabis. Join host Kira Reed each week for inspirational discussions with women who are leading the cannabis industry. For too many years, families of children with devastating illnesses have felt helpless as they watch their child suffer. Today, they're taking matters into their own hands and finally finding relief treating their child with cannabis. This is one family's story.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to another episode of
Love and Cannabis.
I am Nina.
I'm Osiris.
And we are the proud parents of Aiden.
Welcome everyone to another episode. Hope everyone's doing great out there. Peace, love, and happiness to all. Nina won't be joining us tonight. She's away. I'll be back for the next episode, but so tonight it's just me. And, pretty much you guys already know what we've been discussing as it relates to cannabis and family and all the issues that revolve around that, whether it's internal, externals, all these things are all interconnected and related. One of the things that I wanted to talk about and share, which is personal in depth about, the fact that being a dad in this situation where, your child is dependent on you as well as your family, but your child more so because they need this medicine. As we said before, the medicine for your child to, basically heal from what they're going through. And this is a key. And we're having issues in the sense of making sure that we have this accessible to us at all times. One of the things that I've had to wrestle with is the idea that my son is going through this and I felt helpless to do anything, despite all the work, all the time, energy, just looking for people with the right products, meeting so many people with so many promises, just going on for the past 4.5, almost 5 years now, this young man's life. And, you're just hoping that it will stop it altogether. I mean, granted, I'm very happy for where we are and how far we've come, but I feel there's so much more in that we can do collectively in helping everyone else, just not my son. But the fact that as a father, you're dealing with this and, as a society and just basically being the patriarch of the family, being the head of the household, that responsibility is on you to make sure that you keep everything together. And one of the most important things to keep together is your mind as you're going through this, your emotions. You're being told, not to show any emotions and you suppress it so you can, keep the family grounded, knowing that, dad's got it, dad's staying grounded, he looks strong. But like tonight, my wife's not here, Nina's not here. I have to, keep that facade going because when you peel it all down, we're just human beings. We have emotions, we have our ups and downs, your highs and your lows, as you would say. But for the most part, when you're alone, you think about these things. You think about, what could you have done to change this situation? Where did you make that mistake? Where were you? What were you doing? How did this happen under your watch? As a dad, this is your responsibility, is to make sure your family's taken care of. You make sure you protect your family, make sure you provide for your family, all those things that come with it, all the responsibilities. And it's heartbreaking because you see your child, your only child, suffering. And there are parents out there who have more than one child going through this. And I could only imagine, I bless them to stay strong. And you'd look at it and say, wow, this is not easy. And then you think also of the fact that a majority of families don't have one or two parents, whether it's through divorce, whether it's through death, whether just basically a single parent going through this. You just don't know who to turn to, who can help, but you just keep pushing along. And that is something I could say I struggle with just at times when I'm alone thinking about it. And I tend to beat myself up trying to figure out, playing it back in my mind, where did I miss a step? Why didn't I see this happening? What could I have done differently? You know, you visit that shoulda, coulda, woulda situation, but you just don't know. We went to the doctors. We had genetic testing that's telling us, well, it's one of his genes that has a slight defect that causes or triggers these seizures. And it's like you have this baby born and it seems perfect, like there's nothing wrong. Of course, there's challenges, as a child is still developing, you're going to face some challenges. But for the most part, you're thinking, oh, my baby's healthy. He looks strong. He's going to be all right. And you're going to make sure that they're all right. You're going to make sure you provide them the first, the best food. Make sure mom is there and being, cautious of the things she takes in, because obviously, if your child's going to be breastfed, you want to make sure they're eating healthy. Your parent, the mother's eating healthy, and that basically goes into your child. And the same thing, I got to stay healthy. I got to be there and I got to stay fit. But when life throws you that curveball and then you're wondering, what can you do differently? How do I evolve as a person, as a father, and as a man? I mean, I didn't grow up with a person in my household, a male figure in my household. I could say, Dad, what should I do? Dad, what can I, what could I have done? Dad, teach me something. I had multiple male role models in my life, but someone to call dad, I did not have. I'd have to honestly say. So what I'm doing now is pretty much putting pieces together of men in my life that, showed me the way, who've spent time, talked to me, encouraged me. I've taken those great skills that they provide, those insights, and kind of mold them into what I see a father should be. And I'm living that out with my son. And that's something I have to share with him one day and let him know, hey, a lot of stuff I learned, a lot of stuff I've made up as I went along. I've made my share of mistakes. I'm not going to lie, I'm not perfect. But my heart is always in the right place because I had a strong mother and she taught me a lot. And one of the most important things that she taught us was how to love. Being affectionate, being caring, being respectful, just being that individual where people can turn to you, people can trust you, and people can love you wholeheartedly and unconditionally. And that's one of the things that I always hold fast, is just being loving at all times, no matter what is going on internally or externally. And now I find myself in this situation and I'm like, all right, this is life. This is not something that's outside of my realm. This is inside my home, this is part of me. This is my journey, something that I'm going to learn and grow and develop. And I have to say, yeah, I've evolved a lot. I never imagined myself in a situation like this. Because, you're young, you think about these things like, yeah, I'm going to be a great dad. I'm going to be a great husband. I'm going to be a provider. You're going to do all these things. But what kind of dad are you going to be when your child is ailing? Your child is suffering. What kind of dad are you going to be? What kind of man you're going to become when you face adversity like that? And for those dads who are out there who are sticking through, who are by their family side, by their child's side, I commend you. It's not easy. It takes a toll on you sometimes, especially at times when you're alone, you get to sit and really start to delve into the ideas of what has transpired all these years, or the time is, where you are now. And I can only imagine with those moms who are by themselves as well. And they think about what they could have done, should have done, or even they blame themselves, for what's happened. And I felt at times that I blame myself. I don't know how. Maybe it's my gene pool, or maybe something I did wrong, or maybe I stressed my wife out while she was pregnant with him. And, those things run through your mind. And then the other part of it's like, was it the vaccine? Did that trigger it? So you wrestle with all these ideas, and it seems like you can never get a clear-cut answer, because everything you research tells you this and tells you that, and your head's spinning and you don't know what to believe or understand. And so you're left with the idea like, I just got to keep going, keep pushing forward and looking for a cure. I mean, truthfully, that's where it boils down. We're looking for that cure. It's something to end this, Nina would call suffering. And others will say, especially those who are very religious, like you have to go through the suffering in order to come out of it as a whole. That's part of the process. And I'm seeing this process, but at the same time, I see my son and I see sometimes when he hurts, when he does have a seizure. I mean, it's nowhere near what he was having before. And that was probably the most painful experience of my life. And I've been around for a while and I've gone through some painful experiences, but to watch a child so young, so small, go through so many seizures in a day, anywhere between 100, 200, and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. You're just sitting there trying to figure out, like, where did we go wrong? What is going on? From the twitching, the jerking, the drooling, or the blind stares that you just can't get them to connect, or the looking off to space, or then the full body convulsion, the twitching, the jerking, the body locking up, and they're not responding. They stop breathing. The lips are turning blue. I mean, all of those things we've experienced. I think the one of the experiences that I still trying to deal with is when he could be standing there talking to you or playing, and his knees buckle out from under him and he just falls to the floor as if he fainted. And to hear that sound, that thud, when he hits the ground, it's painful. It's gut wrenching. It's just like it hurts you, and it's like you're in shock. You don't even know how to react. I mean, my reaction is just to grab him off the ground as quickly as possible to lessen the pain and console him as he cries. But I have to say that he's a trooper. He keeps me going. He really does. He keeps me looking forward to the next day. Because there are some dark moments when you're dealing with something like this. There are moments where you just you want to give up because you don't even know if you're doing the right thing anymore. You don't know if you are on the right track because you want to end it. You also look at the fact that there's other families who have it worse than you. So I start to feel guilty thinking about it. Just like, wow, okay. They're just happy if their child could sit up. Some parents, I've heard them say, I'll be happy if my child could smile or say my name. And some of them are the ages of 5 to 12 or 18 years old. And they're so dependent. I think for us it was that we got involved in cannabis so early. We administered CBD oil so early. I think it was a month after he was diagnosed. I have to thank my friend Scott for really educating me on cannabis. A year before, I didn't even think I was, a year before I was going to be knee deep in this situation of dealing with my child who has epilepsy. And to be able to help him in that way meant a lot, but I felt like it's not enough. Everything was, basically trial and error because it's not something that's going to happen overnight because you got to figure it's like most medications, you have to dose it in a certain way. You have to take into consideration their weight, also their meals of what they eat daily. Will it affect it? Will it slow it down? Will it speed it up? Metabolism. One of the things that we also had to think about was his current medication that he was on, the pharmaceutical drug. How did that interact? And we finding out there was conflict. So we had to figure out the scheduling. How do we space it? I mean, there was a point where no one was sleeping. Literally, my wife and I were running on schedules. Like, okay, you got the first hour shift. I got the second half of the shift. So we would take turns on who would sleep and would stay up because he would have his grand mal's in his sleep. 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, like clockwork, like almost every night, every morning, he would have a grand mal, guaranteed. And we had to devise a system, to deal with that because we couldn't just, snap him out of it. There were times where we had to administer a diastat, and that stuff, oh my God, it would crush him. He was just sleep all day. He was just a complete vegetable. And then the seizures would come back more intense because of the diastats after it's basically a barbiturate. So once you take him off, he's going to have a withdrawal symptoms. And those are the things that we had to deal with, the twitching, the jerking, it was hard to even feed him sometimes because he would have it while he's eating, and it would frustrate him. So it's those challenges as a man, you're thinking, what more can I do? What more can I do? What am I missing? How do I make this stop? How do I take the pain away? How do I make Nina feel comfortable knowing that everything's going to be all right without breaking down? Just staying strong enough to be like, yeah, we're going to make it through. We're going to get through this. Don't worry. We're going to get through this. And then it's like sometimes you think at times I think I'm lying to myself. I just want to keep her happy and just keep her at peace of mind for now till we hopefully find something. Hopefully, we'll find that right strain, that right dosage to take it all away. But for now, we're just completely dependent on it, more so than the medication. And being in a situation, I've learned to fight for everything that we need for him to survive. I've always wanted to suppress that because I've always fought, since I was a kid. You get bullied, you get teased because I wore glasses, so I get teased, I get bullied. So fighting, that was part of it. After you get older, it's just like, I don't feel like fighting. But now I find myself in a situation I've got to constantly fighting for information, fighting to get the right people to support what we're trying to do as a whole, getting people to understand what it is you're dealing with. And those individuals who are empowered to make decisions hear you, but don't listen because they have their own agendas. So it makes it challenging. I mean, just even getting services for my son to make sure that he was getting everything he needed, we had to fight for that. To get him to the right school, we had to fight and research for that. It's almost like a constant battle. Then you come home and then, you and your partner are fighting. My wife, we would have some arguments over things. And it's just like, well, who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Who's going to go to the school to administer this CBD? Who's going to take time off from work to go to a meeting? All those things. And it's just battle after battle. And it's like, this is not what it's supposed to be. This is not the life that I had, projected for myself or even dreamt would ever be. But I'm growing and learning from it. I am learning to work with what I have. And I just have to stay strong for him and for the family as a whole. Just have to get up every day and smile and enjoy those good moments. Enjoy those times that he does, laugh, that he's able to talk. He's able to play, especially when I watch him on his scooter up and down the apartment, just rolling, him screaming out, yeah, baby. It's just like, okay, he's having a good day. Even if he does have one or two seizures here and there, it's still awesome because it doesn't stop him. He'll cry for a second, but he's determined to get up and do something. There was times we would sit down and do homework and he'll have a seizure. His head would drop and just hit the table. But he'll pick his head up, he'll cry, but then he'll be right back and trying to finish his homework. I'm like, wow. And it's like he's determined to get it done. And when he's done, he's happy. He smiles like, Dad, I did it. I'm done. And it's like, wow. You're the strength of the family. You're that foundation. And as I look at my son, this is one of the things I keep saying to him. Whether he understands or not, but it's just something I have to share with him. I have to give also my wife credit too for her being so strong. I know there's moments when she breaks down. I push her to stay strong. Don't give up. Keep grounded. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this. While inside, I'm just like hurting because I see she's hurting. I see him hurting, and it's like, oh, yeah, we all gotta be strong. We can't give up. We can't let up. We got to keep moving. But there's times where you got to think about, like, how long can you keep this up without, breaking down? And then when you think about your family, do they understand what you're going through? Do they see it? And the answer is no. For the majority of the time, it's just us three, just us. Granted, family do come over from time to time, but at the end of the day, it's still us three. And even with these doctors, you don't hear from them. They don't reach out. They don't check to say, hey, how's it going? How's Aiden doing? How's the family doing? You don't hear from them. Even when you're trying to schedule an appointment, oh, I don't have anything for another week, 2 weeks. Is it an emergency? If not, I will see you in a month. So that makes me want to do more regardless, whether I'm a father or a husband. I just got to do more because I realize you just can't count on everyone to fight for you or to support what is it you want, because it's not their child. As much as they say they love you, they love your child, but again, it's not theirs because it's not their flesh and blood. It's not them that's going to the doctor's office. It's not them holding the child when he's having these seizures. They just witness it. It's not the same. You know, there's a connection, especially mothers, they have that connection with their child. Fathers too, because they see a part of them in the child. And I see that in my son. I see that spirit in him. And I'm so fortunate in a way, though. I'm very fortunate and blessed in the sense that I'm put in a position to make a difference. I just got to continue to believe that I was put here for a reason in this situation. And I guess it's not my place to figure that out, but it is my place to continue what I'm doing. And that's really all I can think, because there's so much. There's so much. We could do this for hours. But for those dads out there, stay strong. Definitely stay strong. And this plant is such a powerful thing in our lives that could actually alter all that's happened. And we have to support. You know, it's crazy. You got to support this plant. It's like that's going to be our movement, is to support it, to make sure that we have it accessible, because we say it's a miracle drug, but it's not a miracle drug because it's what our bodies need. It is part of us, and we have to reconnect with that. And that's what I'm doing with my son, is reconnecting him with it in the purest form. You know, I love him dearly. I love my family dearly, and I'll do anything for them. I'll sacrifice whatever I have to make sure they're whole, make sure they're grounded, make sure they're protected, and make sure that they're all right. And I think that's what every dad or any parent really, but for the most part, the dads, you know, because we are perceived in a way, but we do have our shortcomings. We do have our weaknesses, and we do make our mistakes. But for the most part, we are there. We are strong. We love our families. We care deeply, especially situations like this, where we just have to, you know, stay there and be strong. Granted, there are those who feel that they can't handle the pressure. They can't take what's going on, whether it's the stress from dealing with the child who can't do anything for themselves, or the relationships falling apart from the stress itself. And I can wholeheartedly speak to that because we've been there. Nina and I have been there. You know, we've been at our breaking point. But through it all, we're like, no, I mean, we may give up on each other from time to time, but come back together and be like, okay, well, let's make this work. We have no choice. This little boy is dependent on us, and he's become our glue. And I think that's one of the things, and that's the thing that Nina had shared with me once. She said, let's make our focus on him. Granted, we have our differences, we have our issues that we have yet to deal with, but let's put him first and work from there. And I agree, and that's something we've been doing ever since. And it's opened my eyes to a lot of things. It opened my eyes to who I am as a person, and I hope it's done the same for her. And we've gotten closer. I think we've gotten to understand each other and how we think, and I think that was one of the things that we're missing is our communication, understanding how we work, because we are totally two different peoples. I mean, in every shape and form and thought process, every way you can imagine, we are different. But the one thing that we do is love our child dearly. And that's helped us a lot, especially going through all this. I know that she thinks about it. I know there's times when she's alone, she just wonders what could she have done differently. did she make a mistake? Did she do something, that triggered all this? Is it something that she could have changed? But we never talk about it. It's one of those things that we just don't talk about. We just go through the days and looking for, that rainbow, that will just let us know that, hey, everything's going to be all right. And we've had some good times. We've had some really good times. So I cannot take away from some of the happinesses we've been experiencing as a family. Going away together, getting to spend some time, going to the beach, which Aiden loves to do. He loves to swim. He loves to be in the water. And he's learned how to swim. So that's one of the things that he dearly enjoys. And I appreciate as well. It's a lot. It's a lot. And every day it's a struggle. But get up and do it. Just get up and forge forward and make sure that my family's taken care of. I make sure I take care of my family, and most importantly, take care of myself. That's something I'm still struggling with, is taking care of myself first. That's something I've always struggled. I've always taken care of others before I take care of myself. So that's something I feel like I got to start doing because I want to be here. I really do. All right, guys. I think that's enough from my thoughts for the night. So much. It's so much. But yeah, I believe that health is so important that I've been neglecting it. And I need to really address that. Really do. All right, guys. I want to sign off, and I hope all of you are doing well.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Love and Cannabis. I'm Nina.
I'm Osiris.
And we're the proud parents of
Aiden. Be strong.
And stay empowered.
Tell me, boy, you make me so bored. You need to walk the other way. I tell you once more. Please get out of my way. I don't want you no more. We're done here, boy. I know you think you're so fine, but you can't see it. I've been wanting to bombard.
Hi, my name is Kira Reed, and I'd like to invite you to be inspired by the women who are leading in the cannabis industry. Each week, we will discuss empowerment, leadership, and what it means to be a woman in charge in marijuana, hemp, and CBD. As the founder of the Women Empowered in Cannabis community, I have had the great pleasure to get to know many brilliant and talented women who are CEOs, executives, politicians, advocates, and community leaders that are focused on creating a cannabis economy that is just, fair, and equal. We'll learn how these women make decisions, how they navigate a predominantly male industry, and what they're doing to level the playing field for women. I hope you'll join us.